Fintech means financial technology. Financial technology is anything to do with innovations in finance that involve technology. As you know, we are having a lot of mobile telephones around, computers, all that is technology. Now, what you want to understand is how do we use this technology that is all over around us to take it to our advantage as financial sector players? That's essentially it. So the moment you understand how you can use the technology around you to improve your financial position as an individual, that already addresses itself, fintech. Now, in fintech, we have various innovations, and we have this thing we are calling the sandbox. As you remember, when you were young, you used to play around a sandbox. It means that you get your few items, your clay, your little wires, and then you start playing with them. Now, when you play with those, you find yourself coming up with something, new, like a small vehicle, yeah, like a small bicycle, yeah. So that in itself is a very elementary level of a sandbox. Now, in capital markets, what we're trying to do is, now that we have fintech in the market, and now that we are having innovations coming up every time, how do we take advantage of financial technology in order to help in improving market activity? So you could have things around blockchain, for example, which means you can be able to have several people viewing what you're doing at any given point in time, and that eases the speed of operation or of doing transactions. So ultimately, once you have a sandbox, it's a playground. So in that playground, you are allowed, the rules are kind of, loosened up. So you are able to play around and then come up with something that will ultimately benefit the entire society. And ultimately, once that happens, then of course everybody gains, because you as the innovator gains, and the public gains out of convenience, speed of transactions, and such like. So the ultimate objective is to improve market activity. So how we do that is now the question we are trying to address through the sandbox. So what we are trying to do is to develop the framework for market players who are keen on taking advantage of the sandbox to actually be able to operate in that space. The decision as to where the space is going to be is still work in progress. But you see, the options we have are we could have a location somewhere where the facilities are provided. You have computers, you have mobile phones, you could have some few resources in terms of people who can provide the support services. The other alternative we have is to provide just a framework and say, in principle, if you want to operate in sandbox, if you want to innovate, then this is the environment within which you can innovate, which means that you don't need to have a physical space for you to innovate. What you need is you have your idea and you have your machine, whether it is a computer or a laptop or whatever other tool you could use, and then you are able to innovate and then come to the authority and say, I want to test this idea. I have selected a population that I want to test the idea on. They have accepted the conditions of testing the idea, so I'm going ahead to test. So the regulator will then provide you with that minimum in principle environment and then tell you, go ahead, we are observing what you're doing. Once you're done, get feedback to us as to exactly what you found out. If the idea is able to fly, then of course the regulator will facilitate the process of ensuring that ultimately the idea comes to market. If it's not able to fly, you can go back and find out exactly where you made the mistake. The framework on exactly how stakeholders are going to operate within the sandbox arrangement or regime, that framework is currently being progressed. We are currently doing a review of the same to determine what Kenya's unique circumstances are and how exactly that can be done. by around March, we should have come up with a draft framework. What we currently have is a policy framework, which is again being strengthened in terms of getting content on exactly how this is going to happen. So over time, perhaps after about 6 months, we should have had a comprehensive framework that would determine who should play in that playground, whether they should actually even be there, because our focus is more on capital markets more than anything else. What are the conditions? For how long are they going to be in that environment? And what happens thereafter if they succeed or fail? Because, of course, you have to give, once you give opportunity, you never know. Some of the players could actually succeed. Some of the players may not succeed, but that is not the end of it. We can still facilitate the process of ensuring that the idea sees the light of day. Fintech is wide, and as I indicated earlier, financial technology is wide in terms of what it covers. And any innovation that has an involvement of machines, of technology, are fintech innovations. And whether you're talking about artificial intelligence or the usage of mobile phones to do transactions in the financial sector, all that has got to do with how to ease the speed of transactions, how to bring in more convenience in the market. Any innovations that involve technology that improve how the market operates, it's fintech. In terms of our local environment or financial sector, M-Pesa is considered one of the foremost fintechs we have around. Of course, lately we have had Makiba coming in, but all is around the mobile phone.